What's up, Cowboys Nation? Back at you again with another video. And today we're going to be talking about Jake Ferguson. I really like this player, and he has really made a difference for these first 8 games. And one thing I like about the tight end position, I want to see a high IQ, I want to see toughness, I want to see physicality, and I want to see athleticism. And this player has all of that. So we're here to run a film, so let's get right down to it. So when it comes down to a guy like Jake Ferguson, this is a player that is lined up at that fullback position. And that should tell you all you need to know about this guy's preparation. He has been physical, he has been stronger, and he has been preparing himself to be a 3-down tight end in this league for this season. And he's going to be lining up against that edge rusher number 52, and he's going to really lay the lumber on this guy. Then you're going to have my guy Peyton Hendershot. He's going to be blocking down to the second level. And also Tyler Smith will be pulling to the right side in the B gap, with Tony Pollard exploding right between the C gaps, with Jake Ferguson leading the way. And it's great to see things like this, man, because if you can be physical, if you can be able to have that toughness, this is how you can be able to stay on the field for a very long time. This is how guys like Tony Pollard can be able to get chunk plays, little things like that. This is exactly what we need for this type of team. So we'll run this play. As you can see, Tony Pollard gets a ball, and Jake Ferguson lays the lumber. And this is exactly what you need, Cowboys Nation. This is why he probably played the fullback position, because he was physical. Look at Tyler Smith opening up the lane. Tony Pollard, he only needs a little crease. I mean, if you can get to the second level, that's one thing that I want to see more this season. The offensive linemen getting to the second level so Tony Pollard can have a crease. But just seeing Jake Ferguson just do that, I mean, this is how you can be able to set that tone and establish the line of scrimmage. Let number 52 know that he's going to be in for a long day. But just seeing things like that, I love to see it. Physicality is a very important part of the game. And seeing that from the tight end position, seeing that from the fullback position, this is why this guy has seen a lot of play time on the field. So with this play, he's going to be going up against that edge defender. With Peyton Hendershot, he's going to be going up against that other edge defender as well. And on this offensive line play, it's going to be some single blocks. It's going to be some double team blocks. But Tony Pollard, he's going to be getting the ball to the right side. But it's good to see guys like Jake Ferguson striking with his hands, driving his legs, and just being physical. That's the kind of stuff that gets the coaches riled up. And this is how you can be able to stay on the field for a very long time, playing that tight end position, just being versatile. So we'll go ahead and run this play. As you can see, Jake Ferguson, he plants his feet and strikes with his hands. Next thing you know, he's driving his legs. And this is exactly what you want to see, Cowboys Nation. That is textbook right there, just being able to drive your legs. It wasn't the biggest game, but just seeing what this guy is doing against a bigger edge defender and somebody that is physical as well, that's showing that he's been eating his offseason peanut butter. And you love to see things like that, just being able to drive, being physical, locking on to the defender, and just going out there and finishing the play. So as far as the physicality department, the guy checks the box. Just seeing this guy play in and play out on a line of scrimmage at the fullback position, just making a difference. The tape never lies, Cowboys Nation. So I love to be able to run this kind of stuff. If he can continue to keep doing this, this is how you can be able to have better Tony Pollards. You can have better Rico Dowdles, because all these guys need is just a half a second, and these guys can make a big play. So we looked at the physical department. Now it's time for us to look at the athleticism department. And you definitely need that when it comes down to the tight end position. It is imperative, Cowboys Nation. On this play right here, Jake Ferguson is going to be lined up on the left side, the offense's right side. They're going to be 4-down defensive linemen who's going to be trying to get after Dak Prescott. We'll have 5 offensive linemen who's blocking and protecting him. But number 53 is going to be bailing to the left side, because he is going to see Tony Pollard move to the right side. That's what's going to kind of confuse the guys with Tony Pollard going down to the flats. But you're going to see Jake Ferguson, and Jake Ferguson is going to beat these guys down the seam. But it's great, guys, because seeing a player that can be able to run crossers, you can run seams, out plays, little things like that, you need that in your arsenal. So we'll run this play. As you can see, Tony Pollard bears to the right. They send 4. Next thing you know, he's covered by 2 guys. And he catches right over these guys, man. Split right in between both of those guys. And that is fireworks, Cowboys Nation. We love to see things like that, being able to just catch seams like that. It scares defenses because it makes these guys overthink. If you can be able to have a tight end that's big like that, that can be able to run out plays, crossers, seams. That right there can be a big time weapon when it comes down to certain parts of the game where teams are blitzing too much. They get antsy because we all know when it comes down to Dak Prescott, he is one of the better quarterbacks when teams are blitzing against them. So just seeing that, this team sending 4 and Jake Ferguson going out there and splitting right in between these two defenders and catching a touchdown, this is the type of stuff that gets you fired up, Cowboys Nation. Toughness is a big deal when it comes down to playing the tight end position in the NFL. And this play shows that. This is one of my favorite plays that I broke down because this is one of the guys right here that once he catches the ball, this is how you can be able to get the offense riled up, and this can change games. So on the defensive line, they're going to be sending all 4 guys. And as far as the linebackers, these guys are all going to be in coverage zone, number 8, 3, and number 5. With Tony Pollard, he's going to be running an in-route type of hitch play, and it's going to confuse the linebackers. With Jake Ferguson, he's going to be running a seam route, and just seeing this guy being able to catch the ball, get hit, and getting right up, this is how you can just become a big-time fan of this guy, and I love to see plays like this, and I had to break this down. So we'll run this play. As you can see, the linebackers, they bail out into coverage zone. They're sending 4 players. You see Tony Pollard, he run that hitch route. It freezes number 8 and number 3, and Jake Ferguson runs that seam route. He catches the ball. Look at the athleticism, man. He catches the ball. He gets hit. He does not fumble the ball, and the guy gets right up. You love to see stuff like this, man, because this is what Jason Witten was doing. I didn't really see Dalton Schultz do too much of that, but just having that heart, having that toughness, that will, that determination, this is how you can be able to make Pro Bowls, guys. I love to see it. And if he can be able to be consistent like this, to continue to keep doing things like this, this is how you can be able to stand out. It's great to see a player going out there and really making a difference and being tough out there, because you see that a lot from guys like George Kittle. You see that from guys like Travis Kelce. And speaking on Travis Kelce, he was one of the guys that really, really raved about Jake Ferguson. He said that this guy can really make a difference, and he thinks that he's going to be the next big tight end in this league. So it's special with that. And another thing about a guy like Travis Kelce, he's a dancer. He's a dancer. He's one of those guys that like the boogie. And it's funny because when you see a player like him, you see Jake Ferguson. And Jake Ferguson is another one of those guys that like to dance. And the reason why I mention things like that is because when you see players that can be able to move like that, that's that big, that can be able to move their legs, they can move their hips. This is the stuff that scouts need to see, because these players can be very slippery, they can get open, and these guys can be able to make a difference. But this is how you can be able to separate the good scouts versus the great scouts. So little things like that, man, I see it. And just seeing that from guys like Jake Ferguson, making a difference, being slippery, and just doing all the little things that he's supposed to do. You love to see things like that, Cowboys Nation. So I wanted to show you guys some highlights and some lowlights of Jake Ferguson, because this guy has made a big impact for the first 8 games of the season. And when it comes down to the JC Network, we like to bunch this stuff together and bring you guys the best quality content so we can be able to dissect these guys and see what these guys are doing. So let's go ahead and run it. So it's always great to see things like this, guys. This player going out there and scoring touchdowns. He's blocking well. But I did want to show you guys one little picture clip that I created and seeing the athleticism score versus guys like Schoonmaker. And just seeing this right here, you see that he scored a 68 versus Luke Schoonmaker's 85. Athleticism score, however they're testing, is not always everything. When you're strapping up, when you're putting on the equipment, the shoulder pads, and the helmet, that's what matters. So when you see the 40-yard dash time, it just Luke Schoonmaker was just blowing him out in everything as far as the athleticism department, but it's not always everything. Jake Ferguson has really been playing like a top tier tight end in this league. And I'm so glad to see things like that. Not saying that Luke Schoonmaker is going to be a bad player, but sometimes athleticism, the way that they score things, the stuff that they see at the combine, it does not always translate to the field. We love to see the high IQ from a player. That's my last thing that I like to check off when it comes down to the tight end position. You know, in this play right here, he's going to be running a slant play. You got these defensive linemen, they're going to be rushing forward and trying to get after the guards and the tackle. Guys like Tyron Smith, who also had a very, very good game. He went out there and stymied him at the line of scrimmage. But as far as guys like Jake Ferguson, he's going to be running a slant and just understanding what 41 is doing, being too far away from Jake Ferguson and knowing where Dak Prescott is going to put the ball is very, very key for little things like that. When you're going on third downs, it's going to be very important. So we'll run this play. As you can see, they send forward. Next thing you know, he runs that slant. He sees the opening right there. 41's not really paying attention. Dak Prescott hits him, and he goes out there and gets a first down, man. It just shows that this guy is really, really tough. We're running in real time so you guys can be able to see it. He's not scared to be able to catch balls in front of people because he knows the importance of being able to catch balls and running those type of option routes where he can be able to get a first down on the most important times of the game. It's very great to see. I think that this guy can be one of the top tight ends in this league, but he's going to have to lock in and focus. If he can be able to do the little things, it's going to be huge. And shout out to guys like Will McClay, because all four of our tight ends that we have, these guys came from the Big Ten. And having guys from the Big Ten is very, very cold out there. And those are the type of tight ends, they don't wear no sleeves when it's cold. And that's the kind of guy that you need. Guys that can be able to block, catch cross routes, seams, just being able to set the tone. So we'll see. We got guys like Luke Schoonmaker, Mike McCarthy. He wants to run 12 personnel. He wants to run 13 personnel because his type of offense is a game of mismatches. So hopefully guys like Luke Schoonmaker can get going, continue to keep catching the ball, doing little things, blocking, but just seeing Jake Ferguson, what he's been doing with the toughness, the IQ, the blocking, the athleticism, he's checking the boxes, and I'm so proud to see this guy go out there and step up. Shout out to my guy, Captain Rob, because he's been believing in Jake Ferguson since day one. So it's good to see it. It's great to see things like this, and I can't wait to see if this guy can really be able to really blossom in his offense that much more going forward when we get down to the important games. And make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because the way the YouTube algorithm works, if you don't hit it, you'll miss on fire live streams and fire breakdowns. So I'll talk to y'all soon. All right, Cowboys Nation, gone.